Hey everybody, welcome back to Vamp Daddy's Spooky Adventures. I am Vamp Daddy, aka Ian, and just want to remind you real quick, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you could please, put on your notifies, and that way you'll get all the updates when my channel has new videos. This year, Merriam-Webster Dictionary put out their word of the year to be the word authenticity, and I wondered how this played into the enigmatic world of the goth subculture and how the two combined, because there's a lot of debate online especially, and even in real life spaces, about what is somebody being authentic versus being a poser. So, as I said, Merriam-Webster, this is their word of the year, and I thought it was kind of interesting because it also happened to coincide with a post that I saw online on Facebook specifically, relating to YouTuber Angela Benedict. They had a nice article interview with her, and they talked to her about, like, her experiences within the scene and her YouTube channel. And I have no issue at all with Angela. I had an opportunity to meet her briefly. We had a really good conversation back last year. It was the Wake's first show in like 25 years, and it was in New Jersey, and I just happened to run into her. We were talking to mutual friends, and she's really cool, down to earth. What you see is what you get on her channel, so no question about it. But what was interesting though about the article or the post that Propaganda made, was that somebody had commented on there that she was probably one of the few, if not the only, genuine YouTube person in the goth community talking on the topic. And I kind of took that to heart. I kind of maybe initially was a little offended, not saying that I don't doubt Angela's authenticity. Both her and I came up into the scene in the 90s. I was a little bit before her, but not by much. And so watching her channel, there's a lot of shared experiences, and that's why on this channel, I don't dwell a lot on 90s goth as far as like my time within the scene, because that's already covered elsewhere, and Angela does a fine job at it. But what struck me was that is this idea that she was one of the only people on YouTube being genuine, and I personally kind of feel like I'd always tried to be the most truest self that I could here on this channel, but I think sometimes I was doing things, not to say that it was performative, but I was, maybe I was not focusing on things that sparked joy, and that came through as not being genuine and real. What is the definition of authenticity? So first off, Merriam-Webster defines this as not false or imitation, as well as true to one's own personality, spirit, or character. And that is something that I need to convey better to you guys about who I am. So second, let's give this bigger, broader definition about goth. And there's all these debates about it constantly. I think most people that are participating in the scene can agree that it is a music-based subculture. However, I can also add on to that the goth subculture, with its roots tracing all the way back to late 70s and 80s music, it's a really diverse community that embraces this dark aesthetic, often expressed through the fashion, through music, and our lifestyle choices. What does this all mean in the context of the goth subculture about being authentic? So I think one aspect that defines goth and that authenticity is that it's a genuine expression of one's inner dark self, and that's whether it's through that intricate fashion choices, dark makeup, love for the gothic literature, authenticity lying being true to oneself, and really just embracing that individuality, which of course comes out of like that whole punk movement where goth finds its deep roots. I think being goth, like, you find your own path within this darkness, and it's not conforming to any kind of stereotypes, but embracing kind of like what resonates with you on a deeper level. So, we've watched the scene evolve over the years. It's adopted and adapted from elements of all sorts of sources, Victorian influences to punk to industrial music, and this authenticity in the goth scene it really allows for a dynamic and ever-changing expression of that identity. It really does. Like it's not confined and fixed to one box. It's like there's different styles of it, but that's constantly evolving and changing, going along with all of this. These influences, how does it impact that authenticity within the subculture? And I can tell you, I think what happens is that these external forces they lead people to conform to popularized like notions and images of what it means to be goth. And especially like in the online spaces, there's the kill star looks that everybody there's the people that are just like, well, I just like the aesthetic, and they go for those fashions. And then there's people that are more DIY, but online it's all about how you look, how made up are you. And I know Angela, going back to Angela there, she comes from that era of the 90s where it was more subdued, and it was definitely there. You definitely, we didn't fit in, we didn't look right, but it's more subdued. And in today's world, it's, how cool do you look? And I think that pressure sometimes leads people away from being their truly authentic self. Real authenticity is really just resisting those pressures, and just staying true to you. And that's what I plan to do going forward on this channel. And if I've ever been led astray or not gone that way, that was never my intention. And I don't like it. I don't like the things that kind of like happened over the years, where I was going. Let's talk about how to foster that authenticity within the goth subculture. I think it's, first off, really crucial that we are supportive and inclusive of each other, and that we can look at somebody and say, okay, well, you're trad goth, or you're steampunk, or you're Victorian. There's room for all of us here, and it's part of what makes our scene so vibrant and diverse. So I think embracing that diversity of expression is truly like a way to understand deeper this authenticity. And it helps break down stereotypes, and it really encourages people to have more self-discovery about themselves. When I started out this channel, I kind of go back to this, I really wanted to focus more on things that spark joy for me. Somehow, I kind of felt like I lost my way over the last few years, and focusing on those things, doing things that made other people happy within the scene and not things that made me happy. And that's, neither here nor there. The only one to blame for that is me for succumbing to that. But, I'm a huge spooky nerd, and I love going to science fiction conventions. I like collecting toys, especially especially now, not as much, but I was really into like Star Wars toys. I like oddities, whether it be taxidermy or just weird oddity items that you could have for around your home. As you can see, I like spooky decor. This is just one part of my home, and the rest is pretty similar. I collect comic books. I collect records. I like going out and learning about supernatural history. I like reading about supernatural stuff. I enjoy all the things that you can get from learning about different cultures, whether it's their music, their art, their food, their architecture, just the people, their customs. I find that really fascinating, and those are things that I want to share here on the channel. Things from all around the globe. I also enjoy fashion, so I would like to express more about the clothing that I like to wear, and how to find good deals, and how not to get ripped off from some of these bigger online vendors, and also maybe finding pieces that are just unique and stuff, and not just from the feminine perspective, which is a lot of where goth is. Many times when you look at different sites, or you look at different things that you see online, but from a masculine perspective, or somebody who might identify as non-binary. So I think those are things that I would like to share. I want to share unique dining experiences with you all. I enjoy reading science fiction, so I'd like to talk about books that I've read or films that I've seen, and what kind of impact they've had on me as a person, and what I think that they could provide to other people that maybe also have this dark aesthetic and sometimes a bleak and nihilistic look about life. You know, there's so much that is to me beyond just being Vamp Daddy, DJ, goth guy, playing in a band. You know, like I have so many other interests that tie into the goth subculture that I want to share on this channel. You know, things that are not part of the mainstream society and norm. You know, and being goth, that's just one part of who I am and one part of Vamp Daddy and one part of what these spooky adventures were intended to initially be. Going forward, my intention is to bring that to the channel, to put that out there more. It doesn't mean there won't be any music, there won't be any discussion of it. You know, I already have about 4 different music videos that are brand new that I want to take a peek at, that I haven't watched yet, that I want to get some reactions for. And I want to do the reactions for me, not for you. It's for you, but it's my reactions, and I want to bring that that genuineness more back to what this channel should be, instead of trying to impress people and get, you know, scene cred or whatever. And I just feel like a lot of people are too focused on that and not focused on being genuine and authentic to who they really fucking are. Excuse my language, but that's really how I feel. I've seen things over the last few years. Maybe that's always been there in the scene. Maybe that's always been there in society in general. But I really want to appreciate the real people and who they really are, and not pretenses. And that comes from within myself as well, not singling anybody out or anything like that. That's is just as much with me. We've talked about like goth being a very rich and diverse culture and community, and you know, one that really is supposed to be based off of authenticity. And it's about embracing those shadows from within ourselves and expressing that our truest selves outwardly, without fear, without judgment, without repercussion. And that's my take on it. Probably hear my cat meowing in the background somewhere, but sorry. So yeah, I'll close this out by saying, like, I want to know your thoughts on it. What do you think about authenticity and how it relates to goth? And just let me know in the comments below. As always, like, thank you so much for tuning in. Talked a little bit about goth subculture, a little bit about authenticity. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up reaction. And make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe, and all that stuff again. And share it with your fellow dark souls out there on the interwebs. And as always, until next time, keep it spooky. I am Ian, aka Vamp Daddy. And until next time.